This was me when I was about 5 years old. Cheeky, curious. And I looked at myself in the mirror and I started noticing, certain features. Well, I'm Asian, I have black hair, but something was really weird about my parents. They were completely different looking, and I thought, hey, have you kidnapped me? And they're like, no. Why do you like Bill Clinton anyway? And no, when you're just a baby and your sister was just a baby, we adopted you and we love you and we're your mum and dad. And I'm like, that's cool. It was great. It didn't bother me at all. Until I was about 7 years old and my parents sat us down and they said to us, what we're about to tell you isn't going to change the way we love you. And my mum started crying. And I looked at my sister and I'm like, what did you do? And they said, we're separating. And that was a really rough year because a lot of changes, a lot of moving houses, a lot of new faces, and a brand new school. My single mother at the time moved to a very busy highway, and we lived on a dangerous highway. And the bus stop that I got on and got off was really an entry portal to being the new punching bag and verbal punching bag to several Year 6 students. And that was awful. So my backpack was a football, and I was punched, and students would be racist toward me, and they'd pinch me, and I was outnumbered. Like, I just couldn't defend myself. And one day, it went too far. There's several Year 6 students decided to put me into whiz bins. And that's the first day that I felt literally like a piece of rubbish, like an object, like no value at all. And once my parents found out, they let the school know, and the school let those parents know of those students, and they dealt with it, and the physical bullying stopped for a bit. But the words, the verbal punches, they never stopped. And I learnt from an early age that, your parents just can't come on the school bus and death stare the bullies down, be like, don't look at him. They just can't go, and the teachers aren't going to catch things out all the time. So I figured out I was by myself, but what framework, what things could help defend myself? Could I say anything? I want to ask you the question, have you ever felt hopeless? Like, have you ever felt like you could say something, you wanted to do something, but you just didn't know what to say? Have you ever replayed a memory in your mind, like an old show? Rewrote the script and changed the dialogue? That was me. And fast forward to high school, I was mentored, and these mentors helped me find my light. And I really love public speaking, and I really love music. And I really realized straight away that was another portal to being targeted. Because when you put yourself on stage, or you're trying to do something with sports or anything in the public eye, even at school, you're giving raw material and content for people to judge you. So when I was a little boy, my pain was being broadcast, and that was material for people to judge me. When you're putting yourself out there, when I was putting myself out there like this, I was being judged. And when you think of judgment, you got to think, if there's judgment, there is judges. And we're all judges here. And the question isn't if we judge or not. The question is, do we judge fairly? Because every judge has a law. Every judge has a set of criteria that we go, that's right or wrong. And the question I've been asking for a long time in my life is, what the heck do we do when we're being unfairly judged and devalued in our lives? Because we have so many physical self-defense codes like boxing and Krav Maga, UFC, karate. But when it comes to words, and I say something that you don't like, are you just going to come on stage and slap me in the face like someone did recently? If I say something you don't like, are you going to put me in an armbar? I hope not. Research has shown that the most common form of abuse isn't kicks or punches anymore. But you'd think with all the sports that we have that promote, the discipline, and it's great, there's really good principles in that, you'd think there would be a massive pandemic with that. And I hope to God that no one has to go through that in real life. But it's actually verbal abuse that's the most prominent form of abuse in our culture. But what is verbal abuse? Let's quickly go over that. Verbal abuse is the use of words or language to demean, basically to dehumanize you. And it takes many forms. I'm sure a lot of us have experienced some form of verbal abuse. Have you been labeled before? Have you been criticised? Have you been gaslit? That's all part of the linguistics, our words. And fast forward after school, I dedicated over a decade of my life to helping thousands and thousands of students find their identity. I'm adopted from Korea. I moved house 13 times as a kid. I didn't know who I was for a long time. And I know who I am now. And I want to help people find who they are. And I decided to make schools and businesses that sat one-on-one with students and taught them music and academic tuition and put on retreats. And I found that this old principle was sticking around when I would sit with people on the edge of life, if they were really young or going towards juvie even. Sticks and stones, my beat, my burns, but words would never hurt me. Listen, in my belief, words create worlds. They can get you hired, they can get you fired. They can get you a date, they can get you divorced, they can instigate violence, they can bring justice, they can create a whole environment and culture online that's good or one of evil comparison. And it's this tongue, the untrained tongue. And we have maths, English and science at school, but you're expected to figure this out. You're expected just to know how to deal with jerks who pick on you. There's no training for it. But I thought, what if we could create a verbal karate, like a social kung fu, where we start with white belt right through to black belt. And black belt, in my view, is like being a defender. First of all, for personal protection, and second, to protect those who you love, and protect and defend those that you see around you and defend their value as a human being. And I want to touch on the white belt today, which is simply this: just ask questions. Because whoever asks the questions, that holds the power. Lawyers ask questions. Exams are full of questions. Backstreet Boys even ask questions. Tell me. No, I'm not going to sing. And the rule of the game is this: if someone has lost a dialogue, if they lose control. No matter how old you are, no matter what position in society you hold, if you lose control, you lose respect. And if you're bringing up a question about anything, whether it's someone's opinion that seems unchecked and baseless, or a rumor or gossip. I've coached students where they've had to change schools because of a rumor being unquestioned. People just believe things blindlessly or mindlessly. It didn't go questioned. And anyone can make a claim. Any one of us. You could say, Matt stole my wallet. And if you called the police right now, would they arrest me? No, they would have to test that claim. So when someone asks a claim and I question them back, the burden of proof is usually on the person who made that thing up or is making that claim. But the question is this: are you actually questioning, not just in your head, but out loud to the person? So there are two natural responses to threats, and we know them. Flight, which is what I lived my life as a kid, just hoping that the bullies wouldn't see me that day, just hoping that I would go invisible. That's out of fear. Or fight, which is inferno, right? I match the level of disrespect of the person, I lower my standards, and it just keeps building up and up and up, and it's no place to live. They're both terrible places to live. But questioning is, I think, the golden mean, because any one of us has the right to question. You don't have to have a qualification to question anyone. So this is my verbal jab, cross, hook. Gossip and rumors exist in every school, exist in workplaces around the world. And if we ask these questions, like this is our verbal jab, the first jab would be, what do you mean by that? So someone might be saying, oh, Alex cheated on his exam. What do you mean by that? Where is the pressure now? It's on the person who asked, it's on the person who spread that rumor. Give me some proof. What's that source from? That's evidence. And how do you know it's true? This brings about the personal experience, because a lot of people, they share their opinions from something they heard, but they haven't actually been there to actually confirm it. Or 85% of bullying happens with an audience, just like this here. Online, in group chats, in person, there's always someone there. So these three questions, at least for this audience, I'm calling you to arms here. There is no excuse now. You need to speak up. Because the enemy that I'm against is dehumanization. This note here, what's this worth? Just yell it out. It's good. It wasn't a trick question, right? What if I did this? What's it worth now? What if I did this? What if I rub my armpit on it? It's $5. No, it's $10. No matter what you do, well, no matter what people say, they can scrunch you up, they can throw you around, but it doesn't change the value of a human. And I believe that. And I believe our words create worlds, and it can create a world of hate and pain. And if we're not careful, if we don't use social kung fu, verbal self-defense, I believe our world, our culture, I fear that we're just going to objectify everyone around us. And there's two forms of dehumanization, two main forms. One is, I make you just an object. I objectify you. I make you a body part. She's just a body part. He's just a body part. He's just like a spoon. Its main function is to scoop things. And it's useless if it doesn't do that. You're useless if you don't score that mark. You're just the brain. You're just the body. You're just this, you're just that. That's dehumanizing. I'm taking away your human qualities. Or you're an animal. And you know what? We humanize our pets. We give our pets human names, like Gus, like Wendy. Hey, Wendy. And we have birthday parties with our pets. We humanize animals, but not just any animal, because animals outside our pets that are domesticated, they're scary. They're not. You just don't let you don't just open the windows and the doors of your house and be like, welcome in everyone, the jungle, come on in. No. Because we don't treat animals like they have rights. And my mission and my hope tonight is that we can start raising a generation of young people who will stand up and speak up using questions and logics to find the truth of the matter. Thank you very much.